What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Welcome back to the Respawn, the series where I answer your questions. Let's get started. First up, would a support that can give teammates lifesteal work? Yes, absolutely, though I don't think that this should be the primary method of healing your teammates. After all, there are going to be a lot of situations where you want to heal them, but they're not able to deal damage to enemies. So as an extra ability, yes, it certainly would be good, and you don't even have to limit this to support characters. You could even have this on a DPS or on a tank character. After all, Soldier 76 does have the biotic healing field, which provides a little bit of healing to his teammates, so you could have something similar on really any character. And there's all different kinds of stuff that you could have. Either it is a single target buff, you could have an AoE buff where you put it on all your teammates in an area, or you could have it as a locational based thing, or as a limited use. I mean, there's all different kinds of things that you could do, but this definitely could work as an extra ability. Next up, a little more personal question. Want to check up on your cat? How is she doing? For those of you that don't know, I had two cats who were affectionately called the cat blobs. They made constant appearances during my live streams. I even had separate webcams so that I could have a cat cam on the stream so that you could see them. And I also post quite a few pictures of them on my Instagram. Unfortunately, one of them, Baby, passed away just recently, and the other one, Bratty, they're sisters. I got them both 15 years ago from the same litter. Unfortunately, this year, Baby ended up passing away on their birthday. But Bratty is still here. Physically, she's fine. Emotionally, she is dramatically different. Her personality has changed a ton since Baby has passed away, and there are some very clear signs that she's lonely and kind of grieving and that sort of thing. And animals definitely can notice when someone is gone, particularly when it's a long-term companion of some kind. I mean, both of these two cats were together every day for 15 years, and now suddenly Baby's just gone. So I find Bratty often going through the house looking for her, meowing, trying to get a response. And on top of that, she is way more affectionate with me when she's near me. She, has to be right next to me, almost all the time. She's 1,000 times more affectionate. I've had to put, cat beds and blankets on my desk because she simply will not leave me alone anymore. She has to be near me. I mean, she's getting spoiled. Bratty is getting spoiled way, way more than they ever did before because they were always spoiled cats. But now Bratty is just getting all of her spoiled, plus Babies, plus some more. Next up, will constant nerfs make the game unplayable? Yes and no. If it's hero-specific nerfs, like what they've done with Brigitte and Orisa, where they just nerf the hero again and again and again into the ground, to the point where they're mostly useless in almost every situation, that is going to be bad, because that makes the heroes unplayable. But if there are other across-the-board nerfs where they're nerfing 5, 6, 7 characters and they're slightly bringing down the damage potential of those characters, that's okay. That's not really going to, make the game or any one hero unplayable, as long as all the characters are being brought down at the same time. If they're bringing all the heroes on par with each other, putting them in a line, that's okay. That will work. So a nerf in and of itself isn't bad, as long as they're trying to make all of the characters kind of adjusted together. But when you have these single target nerfs, that's bad, because that makes the individual characters worthless. Can a team buff system work based on character selection? I think I know what you're talking about here, where if you pick Reinhardt, everyone on your team gets an extra 10 armor, or if you pick Winston, everyone gets 5% bonus movement speed, or Diva is an extra 5% damage, that sort of thing. I think it could work, but it would be really, really difficult to balance. There actually might be better ways of handling this, but I think ultimately this sort of thing probably would never make its way into the PvP version of Overwatch, but it will definitely be in the PvE campaign mode with Overwatch 2, where you have all these different buffs for your team depending on what characters you pick, and it really doesn't matter because you're just going against computer-controlled enemies, so it's not like they're going to get upset at you, right? You don't have to worry about balancing that stuff too much, right? As long as it's fun, then it's good. But for PvP, I I don't really know. I think it could work. It would be really, really difficult. And speaking of, will Overwatch 2 have more balance problems than Overwatch 1 because it has more heroes? This might come as a surprise to many of you, but having more heroes in the game actually makes it easier to balance. It makes it take more time, simply because there's more of them, but it's actually easier overall. And this is because there are more potential combinations, more strategies, more synergies, more counters. Players have a lot more freedom to be creative with the different types of team comps, and it makes it all that more difficult for a small number of characters or a specific team comp to completely dominate the game. However, that doesn't guarantee the same situation for Overwatch 2, particularly because of how Blizzard likes to balance heroes and just design them overall. They don't like ability overlap. And this means that if you want to have a particular attribute or a particular buff, like speed boost, for example, you have to use one character. There's no other alternatives. If you want to have anti-heal, you have to use Ana. And this sort of stuff is really bad, and it gets worse and worse the more characters you put into the game. So it depends, right? If they have more heroes, it should theoretically be easier to balance the game, and there should be less problems. But if they keep doing what they're doing, then it's probably going to get worse. So really, it's up to them on where they decide to go with the ability overlap in Overwatch 2. It could get better, it could get worse. Will there be a reworked Paris and Lunar Colony map released with Overwatch 2? Maybe. They have talked about how they want to rework those maps. They've been removed entirely from the competitive pool, so you can't even use them there, only in quick play and arcade and stuff. But I don't really know if they want to spend the time on it. I think it's pretty low on their priority list, because think about it from Blizzard's perspective. What is more appealing to the general player base? Working on brand new maps that have never been seen before, or just going and reworking stuff that people don't really care about all that much? So I think that it's going to be reworked. I think both of them will be reworked at some point. When? I don't know. It just seems like not really all that important to them. Do you think Bastion could become a threat to lower ranks? No. He is one of the worst characters in the game, and he has one of the lowest pick rates in the game. I just went and checked, and with the exception of Bronze, Bastion is the least used character in the entire game. And with Bronze, it's like number 2 or number 3, so he's still at the bottom. The thing is, with Bastion, he requires protection. You have to have barriers in front of him in order to protect the character, because he just doesn't move, and that's the biggest issue with the hero, is he's stationary, he's a sitting duck, and he's easy to deal with if you don't have barriers in front of him. Now, for the lower bracket, this can be a little more difficult to deal with because you have to get through the barriers, which means it requires more teamwork. So the Bastion who is properly protected can be more frustrating, but what did they just do? They just nerfed barriers into the ground. They're tissue paper now, which means that they're not going to be able to protect the Bastion anymore, which means that even in the lower bracket where he would be most effective, he's not going to have the protection that he needs from the barriers, and you're not going to be able to just run him and have him tear up the enemy team. It's just not going to happen. So no, I don't think there's any concern about Bastion. He still needs a rework. He's just not a good character as currently designed, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon. Should Zenyatta's Discord be an anti-heal? I don't know if you're talking about swapping it to an anti-heal or adding anti-heal on top of its existing function. In either of those cases, I would say no. I definitely wouldn't swap it because its current damage amp is incredibly powerful, and I wouldn't add anything to it because if you add anti-heal to it, then they're going to have to nerf the damage amp part of it, and I just don't think that would be a good idea. So keep it as is. Maybe you can increase the percentage of the damage amp if you need to make it stronger, but if you want to have that sort of ability with an anti-heal where you just place it on an enemy, I think that would be great. That would work quite well on a different character, on a new hero, sure, but I wouldn't add it to Zenyatta's Discord, no. That's all the questions for today. I got brand new videos over on my second channel. You can go and check them out. Also, if you want to leave a question for the next respawn, check the community tab on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to be comment of the video, then leave yours, and while you're at it, ring the bell so you never miss a new video. Also, if you want to get some cool gear, join my Discord server, or follow me on social media, then check out the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.